and learn to grow forgiveness and love in their hearts. And reflecting on the past, he wrote, I quote, "Wish things could have happened or played out differently, but sometimes that's just life. Never give up, especially on family, when they want to be there and help. I love you guys with all my heart." And this is a beautiful message from which we can begin. I lift my eyes when all is dark. Into God's hands I place my heart. Biyado of kiruchi, I'm not afraid. Adonai li. I lift my eyes when all is night. When I need help, I seek God's light. Lo echsar Adonai roi, I'm not afraid. Adonai li. Piado of kiruchi, I'm not afraid. Adonai li. I have set the eternal always before me. God is at my side. I shall not be moved. Therefore does my heart exult and my soul rejoice. My being is secure. For you will not abandon me to death, nor let your faithful ones see destruction. You show me the path of life. Your presence brings fullness of joy. Enduring happiness is your gift. Death has taken our beloved Matthew. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For Matthew's love that united us in life and which death cannot sever. For his companionship that we shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of his heart and his mind that brought us joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. Adonai roi lo echsar, binodeh sheyarbitzeni, hamei menuchot yinahaleni, nafshi yeshovev yancheni, v'magle tzedek lema'an shemo. Gam ki elech Begates al mavet, lo ira ki ata imadi, shivtecha umishantecha, hema yenachamuni. Taroch lefanai shulchan, neged zorai, dishanta vashemen roshi, kosir vaya, ach tov, v'cheser yirdefuni, kol yemei chayai, v'shavti beveit Adonai, le'orech yamim. So the words of the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters, he restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. L'kol zman ve'et l'chol chefetz tachat hashamayim, et laledet ve'et lamut, et lata'at ve'et la'akor natuya. We read from Ecclesiastes, for everything there is a season, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. And this is one of those times that silence is often comforting, and also sharing stories and hearing words about Matthew with laughter and with tears. We remember him. So I'd like to invite Brian to come up and say a few words.
All right, let's take that off. Oh, cool. All right. Well, thank you, Canterbury. I appreciate it. My family appreciates you doing this. You know all of us for years. So, thank you. All right, well, it's an honor to talk about Matthew because I got a chance to know him. For us, I know for a fact that he would love this setting right here. Just very simple, very to the point. He was one that, he loved family, big time. Even through all the, stuff that he went through, family was like somehow, even in the midst of all of it, was a top priority. I find it, in a sense, I find it kind of funny that, Mom, you looked up his Facebook scriptures, because I found myself doing the same thing, his Facebook posts. And I found myself over the last couple of days, looking into it and just seeing, because I'll be honest, man, the guy had a lot of insight. I mean, he was intelligent, and I think sometimes that's what frustrated me so much about having conversation with him, because we're both sitting here, the alpha male, and I want to be right, he wants to be right, and we're too stupid to see that we're both right. But I enjoy those conversations, I take them here in my heart with me now. But that one did come up, that most recent one, about, hey, I pray that everyone, can have forgiveness and love for one another. And I thought about it, and right there in my own, my own time, I said, Matthew, I forgive you. I forgive you, man, for, things that wasn't so well in the past between us. I forgive you for things that, haven't even happened yet. And so, I prayed for him, and I said, hey, man, I hope that you forgive yourself. And I know he does, I know that he does, because that's what he would want. He just loved everyone. I was so, honored and happy that we got to have a Zoom meeting yesterday morning, because, I hit my mom up. I sent her a text later in the evening, and we're telling her, hey, man, that meant a lot just to hear about these stories of Matthew, and when you put all the bad, the darkness away to the side, the goodness just shines like extra bright. And like for like that moment in that meeting, like it was just shining real bright. I actually, I got to hear, outside of me, like who my brother was. And I could not be happier for who he was. I mean, I've been down the same road that he's been down. And, I made a few different decisions in my life. But now it's amazing, because now I have the opportunity to, in my faith, to take him with me, on my journey, to live vicariously, let him live vicariously, through me, and see like, hey man, here's what it is. Here's the exciting stuff. It's still there. You're going to get it all, so I could not be, happier for that he has the opportunity now, because I know it's something that he always seeked. The few conversations that we had recently, it was, hey man, I really want what you have. And I say, hey, you're going to get there one day. I didn't expect this to be the route of getting there, but you know what? He's still there. He's still going to get what I have through me, through all of us out here. That's the beautiful thing. I'm a quote person, so I looked around, man. I spent hours looking for this. Like, I had to find the perfect quote, that matched up with Matthew and then what, just everything. And I want to read it real quick here. So the quote is, love is stronger than death, even though it can't stop death from happening. But no matter how hard death tries, it can't separate people from love. It can't take away our memories either. In the end, life is stronger than death. And that meant so much to me because it's like Matthew loved everyone. I mean, big time. And we hold that love that he had for all of us with us now. And we get to walk around with it on a daily. I just want to share two quick memories, really quick recent memories of my brother and what I mean by that love through the darkness. One of them was when my family moved into our house. He was so excited. I hadn't talked to him in a while, but he started hitting me up on text and was just so excited to come help us because he was so happy for me. And I remember the text started literally a couple weeks before, talking of he was more excited that I was moving into a house than I was moving into a house, and I was super excited. And he was more excited about the fact that he had to be part of. And I take that with me, man, because he worked his butt off. That's one thing I do not have. I'll do what I have to do to get by, and then some. But this kid did it in circles. Drew, we were just talking the other day about because it's been about a year since we moved, and this dude has a couch on his back, trying to do it by himself, going up a deck full of stairs, and literally slipped through the stair. And we're like, "Are you okay?" And he's just like, "Oh, well, crinked over and hurting." But he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm fine. Just give me a minute." And literally a minute later, he's right back with that couch. And now I sit on that couch in my living room. So, thank you to him for that. But even afterwards, the text kept coming. He was so thankful. Hey, thanks for letting me help. And that's what his heart is. And that's how I'll remember his heart. And that's who I'll remember who he is. Same thing with my wedding. That's the last time I saw my brother. And I'm going to hold on to that so dearly that, that's the last time I saw him. But he was so happy. I can't even explain, all of us who know Matthew, when he's happy, he already talks a lot, but when he's happy, it doesn't stop. And he'll just keep telling you how happy he is. And to a point where you're like, stop, I understand. But, I feel it now. It was a genuine happiness. He didn't have to search for it somewhere, and all of a sudden, here it is. It came from his heart. And as I heard those stories yesterday in the Zoom meeting, those are stories I knew were of genuine foundation. That he took, he had stories from his heart. Dad, I didn't know about, or I did, but, the little act of getting his butt out there on a freezing cold morning and shoveling off your car just because he knew you were going to go somewhere that day. Hey, praise him, man, because me, I wouldn't have done it. I would have waited for it to warm up and said, the sun will melt it. But Matthew's out there sacrificing his own well-being to take care of others. And that's just what I want to stress so much, that he always wanted to take care of others. I have friends in the recovery community in Akron, and when I told them of my brother's passing, the things that they said were just like, man, he was a good dude with a good heart. So that's the memory that, myself, I'm going to take with me. And I'm asking, you guys, hey, take that memory with you. Like that quote said, here's Matthew, man, and, I forgive you, Matt. And it's like, here he is, but he's not gone. He's with us. And as long as, we keep, every time I walk by, in my bedroom, I have an amazing photo of all of us together. And when I see that, I see such a smile on his face. I look at that every night and every morning. He's with me. So, he might be gone, physically and from this world, which I'm happy that, he's not suffering the craziness of this world anymore. But he's still with me, and he gets the best part. He gets to travel around with each one of us and live through us. So thank you for letting me share. Thank you for everyone who, I don't even know where the camera's at in this place, but thank you for everyone who's watching from whichever angle. I don't know where to look, so your guess is as good as mine. But, and thank you for you guys who are here today. I know it would mean a lot to him. And I believe, in my faith, that I believe that he's sitting somewhere in here. And, he's probably got tears too, because he loved us that much. And it's going to take him a little bit of time to realize that, hey, I have access to follow you guys everywhere you go. So if he comes knocking at your door, let him in. Let him in and enjoy conversation time with him. And I loved him, and I love you guys. And we're all in this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And man, can you preach? Hey, took my job, yeah. It's amazing. Thank you. And I know that we believe in Judaism that the soul has escaped his body, and that each time we mention Matthew, each time we talk about Matthew, we share stories about Matthew, his soul, his neshama is elevated. And that's our goal, to keep him with us in our hearts, but let his soul get closer and closer to God. So thank you so much for sharing. Mark and Beth, Drew, Brian, Maddie, there are no adequate words with which to try to mitigate the pain or to console the inconsolable. This is why we have come together in deepest despair, and we acknowledge that words are of little help. Perhaps our just being here expresses a sentiment that goes beyond words. It is hard for us to believe that Matthew's life has ended so suddenly and so tragically. His death leaves us sad at the thought of his unfinished years. And yet we must find consolation in the memories that we all have of a genuinely kind, caring, compassionate person, a young man with a huge heart, as you said, Brian, who walked the path of life with the very best of intentions and love for each and every one of you. Matthew grew up here in Beechwood and graduated from Beechwood High School, and he attended the University of Cincinnati. He was a shy kid, but he was a fun kid, a very intriguing bar mitzvah student at Temple Emmanuel, a boy that loved to vacation with his family, oftentimes at a cabin at Ogle Bay, or on a surprise trip to Disney in Florida. Matthew did not do anything in life without researching and critically thinking through each and every step. Even as a child, I'm told all Lego sets were too simple for him. He disregarded the suggested age and skill level, and he methodically assembled them first in his mind without directions. For Matthew, every small project turned into a huge project, for he always went above and beyond. When asked to cut the grass, he worked for hours, mowing even the neighbors' lawns. When Mark bought a lawn edger, Matthew quickly assembled it, and he stayed out way past dark to finish the job. He worked long hours landscaping, fertilizing, straightening hoses, and watering the yards with precision. He always enjoyed living at home, and he would do any chore without being asked. Taking out the garbage, Drew didn't want to. Bringing in things from the garage, bringing in groceries, orange juice, didn't even have to ask. But when he was asked, as Ryan said, to shovel or brush off the car, he'd not only clean it, every visible snowflake in his yard, he'd help the neighbors too. He was a devoted brother to Brian and to Drew, and though he and Drew were 11 years apart, they made a relationship work. They were shooting hoops in the driveway, golfing on the front lawn, and most recently, Drew said they drive to the corner gas station together to pick up a pack of cigarettes for Matthew, not for Drew, and would return loaded up with about $30 worth of junk food, Skittles, Starburst, cookies and cream bars, just about anything sweet and chewy to satisfy his overactive sweet tooth. Matthew was a charmer and a smooth talker, and had the innate ability to strategize a business plan or hatch a quick, clever money-making scheme. He was forever working on a new and creative way to earn fast cash and make it big. He was a man with potential. He researched and compared, analyzed and assessed, penciled out the plan on paper in meticulous handwriting, but he could never seem to see it through to fruition. It became clear that his struggles with mental illness and substance abuse were stronger than his ability to get stable footing on life's path. He worked on his recovery multiple times in various places, most recently in California, where he created a strong friendship with Christian and Trina, who always had his back. But for those who understand this disease, it requires more than friends. Our Talmud teaches that a prisoner cannot free himself. It takes a community, like-minded support, and daily work against this disease that held him in its tight grip. It became a fight for his life, and ultimately a fight that he could not win. We know that Matthew made the most of the days he was given on this earth, putting everyone's welfare above his own, being devoted and respectful to family, kind to his friends, and reaching out to strangers. He lived with the heritage and teachings of Judaism deep within his soul. He and his mother had a very special relationship, not without challenges, but a love that was strong and unshakable. They had intense conversations, and not a day went by without a long, drawn-out text message outlining an idea for a new business venture, some sort of 2-year plan, or how he'd finagle money from the government for a loan. Today and always, as we remember Matthew, let's remember him as the smiling and loving son, brother, grandson. He was an uncle. He was a nephew, a cousin. He was a father, a dear relative, and a dear friend. Let us never let the addiction which took his life define his life. He was so much more than that. He taught us to live and love with all our might, and painfully, that drugs have the power to destroy beautiful children and decimate families. In one of his last texts to Beth, he wrote, and I quote, "Good night. I'm always here for you. I love you. I'm not just a bum in the basement. I'm doing everything that I can to get going forward with everything I have. If only that could have been." I pray now that Matthew is at rest. No more pain, no more struggle. And perhaps these final poetic words of Warren Hansen can speak for him. "The next place that I go will be as peaceful and familiar as a sleepy summer Sunday and a sweet, untroubled mind. And yet, it won't be anything like any place I've ever been, or seen, or even dreamed of in the place I leave behind. I'll glide beyond the rainbows. I'll drift above the sky. I'll fly into the wonder without ever wondering why. I won't remember getting there. Somehow I'll just arrive. But I'll know that I belong there and will feel much more alive. I will be absolutely free of the things that I held onto and that were holding on to me. I will finally be perfect. I will be without a flaw. I will never make one more mistake or break the smallest law. And the me that was impatient or was angry or unkind will simply be a memory, the me I left behind. I will travel empty-handed. There is not a single thing I have collected in my life that I would ever want to bring, except the love of those who loved me and the warmth of those who cared, the happiness and memories and the magic that we shared. Although I might not see their faces, all our hearts will beat as one, and the circle of our spirits will shine brighter than the sun. I will cherish all the friendships I was fortunate to find, all the love and all the laughter in the place that I now leave behind. All these good things will go with me. They will make my spirit glow, and that light will shine forever in the next place that I go." In his sorrow, Job cried out, "Adonai natan ve'Adonai lakach, Yehi shem Adonai mevorach." God has given, and now God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. I ask you now please to rise for El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hametzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Shechina, Chaim Kedoshim Utehorim, Kezar Harakia Mazhirim. Et Nishmat Herschel ben Mark Vabatya, Shalach le'olamo. Bal Rachamim, Yastirehu Beseta Kenafav le'olamim. Vitzro hachayim et nishmato, Adonai hu nachalato, V'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo, V'nomar amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Matthew Riley, son of Mark and Beth, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence and in the shadow of your wings. Let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he truly rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. Service will continue at Mount Olive Cemetery.